Playing for fast state boards in TFT is a very strong way to play, but it's easy to play it incorrectly. So in this video, we're going to be helping you learn how to level up your fast state playstyle, when and how to actually play it, and covering things like economy, augments, rolldowns, and more. Now the first and most important thing about going for a fast 8 game is understanding when is actually the right time to do it. Securing an early econ augment is huge, and we'll get more into that shortly, but there's also other factors too, like portals, hacks, or what the PvE minion round rewards you. For portals, there are various ones that give you a ton of extra gold, which means you can reach level 8 faster. So whilst the rest of your lobby might be sat there playing reroll comps, you're going to find and lock in your level 8 boards sooner than expected and wash them all out before they even hit. A few good examples of portals to play fast 8 boards into would be Scuttle Puddle, Crab Rave, Gold Sub, and Pot of Gold. PvE rounds can also help you push for fast 8 easier, even starting from stage 1. There'll be games where you get less components offered but an increase of gold, which will let you hit your passive income faster and make you richer. Some PvE rounds you gain so much gold, especially with golden or prismatic loot orbs, and these can give over 20 gold or even drop a couple of forecasts. The one that can make fast 8 boards incredibly hard though are the 0 gold Krugs. So if you do happen to get a 0 gold Krug round and don't have an econ augment, you're going to be in for a rough time, as you probably won't be able to roll down till around 4-5. So after that PvE round, if you do get 0 gold, this is where you'll have to decide if you have the health to make it to 4-5 or look to get into a reroll setup on the go instead. So now let's get on to how to actually play fast 8 comps, and the first and one of the most important things to cover is going to be augments. Augments are a super important thing to factor in when playing for fast 8 boards, and how you play the entire early stages will depend on which option you take at 2-1. Economy augments are a game changer here, as getting more experience and getting to level 8 faster than the rest of your lobby is key to finding and hitting your upgraded 4-cost units and carries. So if you want to play fast 8, it starts here. That's not to say you simply cannot play fast 8 if you don't hit an econ augment at 2-1, but if other players get one and you don't, and you're aiming to play the same comp, they definitely will have the advantage. If your level 8 board isn't being contested, not taking an econ augment might not be as punishing. However, you need to be careful of your HP, in case it takes you too long to find and lock in your board, and before you know it, you're donkey rolling at level 8 and going bot 4. A good example here might be someone contesting you playing Street Demons. They took Street Demon Emblem, but you have Patient Study. They might spike sooner and cap out harder if they hit, but the whole idea of Street Demons is hitting level 8 and hitting your 2-star 4-cost carries like Brand and Nico. So even though they may have a potentially higher ceiling, you're actually going to be level 8 faster, hit the carries you both need before them, and more than likely end up with a higher placement. So getting an econ augment really can make the difference when it comes to your rolldowns during stage 4. So look out for options like Patient Study, Upward Mobility, Slamming, and Level Up, to name a few. Now we've just talked about econ augments, and we just wanted to add a little bit of extra advice here. If you do play around an econ augment at 2-1 or 3-2, you also want to make sure you look out for strong combat augments along the way too, depending on your comp. As if you take, let's say, double econ augments and a +1 emblem for example, you might look strong, you might feel strong, but you might just end up losing placements to players that have stronger combat augments instead, so always keep that in mind. Now let's talk about economy. Economy is what separates the good TFT players from the best, and a strong economy is the key to playing fast 8. And there's many ways you can use your gold more efficiently to get ahead of your opponents. The first and most obvious thing to think about here is streaking. Streaking rewards players who lose or win multiple fights in a row, so getting on a streak will give you some extra passive gold. If all you're doing is winning one and losing one during stages 2 and 3, by the time stage 4 comes around, you're actually going to be down a lot of gold compared to those who've built up extra gold through better streaking. The way to change this is by judging your board's strength throughout those early stages. So at 2-1, you'll want to decide if you think your board is strong enough to play for a win streak. For example, if you have early 2-star units, some traits active, a strong combat augment, and some components that you can slam into items early on. You'll also want to check out your opponent's board and see what early units and items these guys are playing too, because even if you think your opener is decent, it might not actually be good enough against those other players that have better boards than you. Now if you don't have a good opener, it can actually be easier to lose streak here instead, where you don't level up, don't slam items, and save as much gold as possible to build up your economy by playing for a 5 loss streak instead during stage 2, which also gives you the carousel priority. Just remember, if you are playing for a loss streak, keep an eye out for those Cypher players. One thing to note here as well is your streaking money also goes into the PvE rounds, so if you 5 win or 5 loss for stage 2, you'll make an extra 2 gold after neutrals. So stage 2 streaking is very important because it's the fastest way we can get to 50 gold. But what do we do after that? Well, if you've got a super strong board as you go into stage 3, you can look to keep up your streak and build that up for a potential 10 streak by the end of this stage. During stage 3, again, it's going to come down to what augment you get offered, how strong your board is, and if you think you can keep streaking heading into stage 4. However, streaking isn't as important during stage 3 because other players are going to spike at different times and it's much more difficult to play for a win or a loss. However, we've already done the crucial part, which is getting to 50 gold as quickly as possible during stage 2, and now we're already passively gaining an extra 5 gold a turn. Around halfway through stage 3, if you're still win streaking and still feeling super strong, you can also look to level up aggressively here, where you can push to 7 as long as you don't go below 30 gold. And if you're confident you can beat everyone else at level 7, you can then aim to go into stage 4 with a 10 win streak. But remember, if you do this, you are sacrificing some gold, so if you push to 7 and lose, it might come back to haunt you. Generally, during stage 3, it's more about maintaining your economy, hitting small upgrades along the way, finding any core units for your comp for later on, and preserving as much health as possible. If you played for a loss streak during stage 2, health is going to be more important here. If you won all of stage 2, this is where health isn't as much of a worry. Another big part of playing around your economy is understanding when to hold or sell units. A mistake a lot of players make is holding units too early. For example, on stage 2, if we're thinking about playing towards Street Demons and find a Rengar or a Jinx in our shop, it's actually likely better to not lose the extra 3 gold or 6 gold holding these, as we're more likely to find 3 copies of these units later when we're above 50 gold during stage 3 or on a level 8 Rolldown. The only times you want to prioritize these units over your economy is if you're already win streaking and playing these units makes you even stronger, for example adding in Jinx to activate 5 Street Demons. The same applies to holding pairs. If you're sacrificing your econ and staying below 50 gold to hold units, you're going to be missing out on extra passive income which you need every inch of to get level 8 sooner. Moving on now to scouting. And when it comes to playing fast 8 boards, you're going to want to stay on top of this, as if there's multiple people playing the same comps, it's going to be really important you hit your units first. Even from as early as stage 2, you'll be able to see other players' items and augments, which can be solid indicators as to what comps they're playing towards. Whenever we're playing fast 8, the primary carries are going to be forecasts. And remember, as the tier of units get higher, the amount of copies in those champion pools gets lower. There's 10 of each forecast in the pool, so if you're being contested, you're going to have a harder time 2-starring your main units. Throughout the game, make sure you keep an eye on what your opponents are playing, and remember how important it is to reach level 8 before those that are contesting you if you are dead set on still playing that specific comp. If you scout and see one player has a Street Demon augment and another has Street Demon units, it might not be worth rolling for the same forecast units unless you have those advantages over them like a stronger economy and better XP augments like we mentioned earlier. Honestly, hard forcing the strongest S tier comps even though you're being 3-way contested with other players in a better position than you just simply isn't going to be the best idea. As a fully upgraded A tier fast 8 board with the right items will often beat an S tier comp that is missing their upgrades, especially if you can then push to level 9 and cap out even harder than them whilst they donkey roll for the rest of the game. Now at the time of making this video, Street Demons is a little bit on the strong side and being forced in a ton of games, but generally speaking, taking this approach should give you better results. So you've done your scouting, you've got your experience augments, you've nailed your economy in stages 2 and 3, and now it's time for the fun part, the Rolldown. Generally speaking, playing fast 8 means you want to aim to be level 8 at around the start of stage 4, at rounds 4-1 or 4-2 at the latest if needed. You want to aim to have around 35 to 40 gold minimum to roll with, so you'll have to decide if you have enough to pull the trigger on 4-1 or 4-2, depending on if you're being contested. Your goal here will be to find your 4-cost carries, 2-star them if you can, as well as 2-starring any lower cost units so you can stabilize and not bleed out too much health during stage 4. Whenever you do roll down, we'd also advise not going below 10 gold to avoid missing out on that passive extra gold interest. After this, whether you hit or not, now you can look to build your economy back up again, and then decide whether to roll again after the carousel to hit any missing 2-star upgrades for your 4-cost carries, or if you're not being contested or feeling strong enough already, or if you have loads of health to play with, you can just start playing for level 9 instead. Just remember, we do not want to be donkey rolling to 0 gold every round throughout the entirety of stage 4. It's all about rolling down, finding what you need, building your economy back up again, and then making those decisions based on what the game has given you. And the better you get at this process during stage 4, the more games you're going to win, and the more LP you're going to farm along the way. Well, that brings us to the end of our video all about how to play fast state boards in Teamfight Tactics. This is a bit of a different style of video for us when it comes to TFT, so we hope you enjoyed it, and let us know in the comments below what kind of video you'd like to see next. Don't forget to head to mobalytics.gg/TFT to check out all the strongest comps each patch in our tier list, and there you can also find our full in-depth video guides for every S tier comp. Thank you all for watching guys, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.